Hello, hello. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Kalita Scott, and I'd like to welcome you to What's Up in the Watershed. This is a question and answer webinar where we get down to the business with our partners about the good work they're doing. Today, we've invited Lauren Jenkins from St. Lucie County to talk with us about the community benefits of improving water quality from currently untreated runoff from entering the Indian River Lagoon from the C-25. We're excited to invite Lauren Jenkins. And before we get started turning it over to her, I want to share a little bit about Lauren's background. She's a Florida native and a resident, and she's been spending the last 17 years professionally educating youth and adults about environmental topics. A self-proclaimed nature nerd, she enjoys learning about natural systems of the earth, how everything is connected, and how we fit in. Currently, she's the Senior Interpretation and Stewardship Coordinator for the Environmental Education and Community Outreach Division for St. Lucie County's Environmental Resources Department. And she oversees the Guided Nature Program Series and the St. Lucie Water Champions Adult Education course, as well as the passive interpretation within the county preserve system. I'm excited to invite Lauren Jenkins to share some good news and what's up in the watershed today. Take it over, Lauren.
Thank you. Let me pull my screen up. Happy to join you. That was such a lovely introduction. Thanks for having me on the program. I appreciate it very much. We're going to go into a little bit about the basics of stormwater and then talk about a specific project that St. Lucie County Water Quality and Public Works are working on the C-25. So, as Kalita said, that I am with the St. Lucie County Environmental Resources Department. We have three divisions. And the division that I'm with is the Environmental Education and Community Outreach Division. But we also have a Land Management Division and a Regulations Division. So let's dive in. So before we talk specifics about a project that's going on in the county, I wanted to really quickly just cover the basics. So what is stormwater, right? Stormwater is water from a storm, whether it's the form of rain, hail, sleet, or snow. Anything that precipitates from the clouds is considered stormwater. And in Florida, we definitely have a lot of it. So when water hits the ground, it can travel in three different directions. It can, evaporate back up into the atmosphere, or it could land on a pervious surface. That means one that can absorb water, meaning it can soak into the ground. Pervious surfaces can include things like grass, sand, mulch, etc. So when water soaks into the ground, it's called infiltration. And infiltration actually cleans the water as it passes through the layers of soil and rock. And this water eventually becomes our groundwater. It also can land on impervious surfaces. So surfaces like roads, sidewalks, parking lots, houses are all impervious. This means that the water cannot soak through. So when stormwater lands on these surfaces, it becomes what we call runoff. And runoff can't soak into the ground, so it runs downhill until it hits a storm drain in the street or another body of water. And the storm drain will direct the water away from houses and roads with the goal of protecting community from flooding. So the bottom line is that impervious surfaces cause runoff and actually increase runoff. So keep that in mind as we go. And if you notice, the raindrops that come where it says infiltration, those are blue and they're clean. That's indicating that that infiltration is cleaning that water. But if you notice that red circle, it's circling the runoff, and that little drop is not blue and clean because there is no cleaning that's happening when runoff is pushed down a storm drain. There's no filters, there's no processing. It just moves the water away from our houses and streets as quickly as possible. So here's an example of what stormwater runoff looks like from a sidewalk onto the street. So this water is going to make its way down to a storm drain and go underground. And once in the storm drain pipe, remember, there's no filter. The water is strictly being moved away from our houses and our streets. And stormwater can bring a lot of other contaminants along with it as it travels. This is an example of trash and oil moving with the stormwater down into a storm drain in the street. Now, of course, this is gross, but it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal. But consider this. St. Lucie County is growing. With our population growth increasing, we now have more and more impervious surfaces in our county. This is a map that shows the changing impervious surfaces since 1984. I don't know if you can see it actually moving, but the dark green areas are forests and they change over time. Many pervious surfaces have been replaced over time by impervious surface. And this is an important factor when thinking about managing stormwater.
Lauren, we
Yes.
can see what I'm seeing on the screen is just a play button for a
Yeah, I was
video.
hoping that it would. Oh, shoot. How about this? Da-da-da.
Yeah, there we go.
Watch this. So this is, if you've never visited Google Time Lapse, that's an amazing website that you can find any location on the planet and look to see what's been changing. So this is just an aerial image of St. Lucie County, and we just zoomed into a specific area, and I just screen recorded the GIF that's happening here. But it's an amazing website, so you can get lost though checking out all the different places over time lapse. But if you watch, the dark green areas are starting to disappear. So that pervious once pervious surfaces are now turning impervious. The more and more populations that come in. Okay. So not only are the increased impervious surfaces causing concern, but changes in our climate are too. So for over 100 years, humans have burned fossil fuels like coal, oil, natural gas, which release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. These greenhouse gases are essential to life on our planet, but the gases are getting so thick, they're acting like a really warm blanket during the summer, and it's too thick. So we have more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere than any point in human history, and temperatures are rising more quickly than ever. And as the Earth gets warmer, climate change is having many different impacts around our planet. The frequency and intensity of weather events is increasing. Drought, wildfires, hurricanes, and more frequent and more intense. These changes impact wildlife and invasive species also. So here's a graph from the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as NOAA. It shows the observed number of 4-inch extreme precipitation events in Florida since 1900. This horizontal black line shows the long-term average. And the data, as you can see, is very subtle as it ebbs and flows, but the trend is ever so slightly increasing. And this just shows that we're experiencing more frequent, intense rainfall. And in this case, that means 4-inch storm events. Another graph from NOAA shows the variable increases in the number of hurricanes that make landfall in Florida. This one's from 1851. And as global temperatures are changing, the number of storms are increasing. This means we, as a community, need to prepare our stormwater management, especially here in Florida, so we can handle the increased precipitation coming our way from future storms. So, in general, to put it simply, more precipitation means more stormwater. And with all that extra impervious surface where the water cannot soak through, this means that there's going to be more runoff also. And this has impacts. So increased runoff can cause some pretty serious issues. This image right here is pretty eye-opening too. After a heavy rain event, stormwater runoff travels down our impervious surfaces through canals and travels until it hits the nearest body of water. And in our case, it's the Indian River Lagoon here on the Treasure Coast. This picture was taken from the air, I think from an airplane following a major storm. And so notice the fresh water coming from the top of the photo. It's moving through the Fort Pierce Inlet and into the Indian River Lagoon. The fresh water contains brown sediments and really any other pollutants it might have picked up along the way. Now, this is a natural event, but remember, increased populations in the area have increased our impervious surface and increased the amount of runoff. And the stormwater has no other place to go. There's also big impacts on Florida residents. In addition to polluting the Indian River Lagoon, our increased runoff problem can threaten human property and lives. When stormwater systems are overwhelmed by our changing climate, that's when floods can occur. And really, in the past, there wasn't very many stormwater management rules and regulations in the past. So older communities are flooding tend to flood more often because they didn't have regulations and management plans in the past, which we do now. So climate change poses some serious threats, but don't worry, there is hope. Through science and engineering, we can adapt to climate change. And St. Lucie County Department of Public Works and Water Quality are working hard to keep up with the demanding issue of stormwater management. One project in particular that's in the works is the Sheridan Plaza Stormwater Treatment Area. So this map right here is an aerial map of Sheridan Plaza in Fort Pierce. As you can see, there's lots of homes and lots of impervious surface. That little red marker right there is where Sheridan Scrub Preserve sits, right along the C-25. That second black line right in the center of the picture there is the C-25 canal, right in the middle of the neighborhood. And this canal, if you look all the way from the left and follow it to the right, it leads directly into the Indian River Lagoon. So the watershed for the C-25 canal goes far beyond just the Sheridan Plaza. So think of a watershed like a funnel. Everything inside of the funnel will eventually make its way to one specific point. So this map shows where all the stormwater can come from as it flows through the C-25 canal. So this large area bordered in pink, this weird shape, has even more residents than Sheridan Plaza alone, and even more collective impervious surfaces, which increase our runoff into the canal and eventually into the Indian River Lagoon. And just to get a bigger picture, every water body has its own watershed. This is a map of the watershed boundaries for St. Lucie Estuary. So you can see on the top left, that little beige colored area, that's the C-25 watershed. So everything inside there is going to go through the C-25, and all these other small watersheds will eventually make their way down to the St. Lucie Estuary as well, and eventually into the ocean. So back to Sheridan Plaza. The Sheridan Plaza Stormwater Treatment Project is funded through St. Lucie County and Indian River Lagoon Council. It's 16 acres along the C-25 canal. It's going to be designed to capture and hold runoff. Remember, those impervious surfaces are causing that runoff to go quickly and move with it all those pollutants. So it's going to capture and hold that runoff, allowing it to soak into the ground as it makes its way into the C-25 canal and the IRL, Indian River Lagoon. So here's another map of Sheridan water quality treatment area. And if you notice, there's the marked area in green right to the very north of the C-25 there in the center. So the initial project design included a multi-celled shallow water treatment train that could include bioswales, dry detention areas, and wet detention areas, wet retention areas. Runoff from Sheridan Plaza, which is currently untreated, will be detained and treated before discharging downstream. And like I said, so this little blue square, the dark blue square, that's the Sheridan Scrub Preserve. And the green area right below is that project location. And then right below that is the C-25. So this is a conceptual plan of the project. The area south of Sheridan Scrub Preserve and north of the C-25 will be enhanced and beautified with this stormwater management area. The system will be able to handle the projected increase in rainfall and runoff from the community. And the system aims to offer less flooding, passive recreational opportunities, education about the Indian River Lagoon, and an improved natural area. And it's supposed to be very beautiful if you've seen some of these projects in the county. So if you look at this map, there's that Sheridan Scrub Preserve just south of that, a little bit different of an image of the map. So it's going to be a great place for the Sheridan Plaza community to explore their natural surroundings. These are some of the kids from Sheridan Plaza there with our Oxbow Eco Center crew. It's going to be a great place to enjoy natural space. And kids from Sheridan Plaza have already been introduced to stormwater engineering as part of Oxbow Eco Center's First Step program in partnership with Be Greater Than Inc. Neighborhood kids have been introduced to a wide variety of nature and environmental science education in their community. So in this particular session, we actually did, it looks like we're playing with toys, but we actually discussed stormwater, pervious and impervious surfaces, and how the speed of runoff can cause issues in the Indian River Lagoon. So using marble race play sets, I don't know if anyone's ever played with these before, but they're super fun. Neighborhood kids were challenged to think like an engineer. They were challenged to design a stormwater system aimed at slowing down the water and allowing it to soak into the ground. And that's our main goal, right? Preventing that runoff and allowing it to soak into the ground. So the kids got to engineer their own systems, and basically they would race with marbles, and the slowest design system was the best stormwater system. So after engineering our systems with these play sets, we actually went out and examined the stormwater management infrastructure already in existence in the neighborhood. So they already got a pretty good idea of what this project is going to entail. This project is also going to be added to our adult education program called the St. Lucie Water Champions, which Kalita is now a part of. We're very excited to have her. So it's going to be a stop on our stormwater management tour. So this program, the Water Champions program, is free to participate by all St. Lucie residents and expands on the complex role that water plays in our lives here on the Treasure Coast. So since stormwater management is a case-by-case issue, each system is designed specifically for the community it manages. The Sheridan Plaza STA, Stormwater Treatment Area, will be a unique stop along the stormwater tour. These are our St. Lucie Water Champions here on one of those stormwater tours that we've done in the past. Here, our water champions are learning about biological water quality indicators by observing aquatic benthic macroinvertebrates from our local canal at Oxbow Eco Center. The program is super hands-on and meets every other month. Here, the program participants are measuring water quality by kayak on the St. Lucie River. Anyone can sign up. It's meant for adults, but you can sign up at oxboweco.com if you want to learn more about water in our area, including stormwater projects like this. And stormwater education in general is something that we at the Oxbow Eco Center and through the Environmental Resources Department are very passionate about. Since water connects us all, we talk about it in every program that we offer. These are actually our summer campers exploring the C-106 canal on the south side of the Oxbow Preserve. So in addition to reduced community flooding, a natural place for residents to explore and cleaner water quality. Stormwater systems like these, the one plans for Sheridan Plaza, also provide great habitat for many of Florida's wading birds. These are three different species of birds that we have commonly here in the Treasure Coast. We've got an egret, a spoonbill, a wood stork. So it's going to be really beautiful once it gets going. The Sheridan Stormwater Treatment Area has not quite begun construction yet, from what I've been told. But according to the county's water quality manager, Jim Lappert, plans are in the works to break ground in the next 3 months or so. For more information about what's going on with projects like these in our county, the best place to go is to visit the county's website, stlucieco.gov. Both Public Works and Water Quality pages have great resources about projects like these that are going on. Public Works actually just launched a new free email newsletter that will address projects like this, and you can sign up on their website too. So that's all I have. I'd love to take some questions if anybody has any.
We actually have a question in the chat about the flow maps. They were really interesting. Are those available anywhere to the public?
Flow maps. Do you mean
On your
the
presentation about where the water flows, and I believe it was a part of the looking at the C25
oh the
watershed. Yes.
watershed map?
Hmm.
Yeah, that South Florida Water Management District has really great resources about things like that. I also I don't have it memorized with me right this second, but I was introduced to a really cool website. I'm going to look it up for you, Kalita, and I'll send it to you. You can share with everybody. But there's this website, the details are escaping me, but you can put your address in and it'll tell you where your specific stormwater travels, where the
Oh,
nearest
that's
storm
great.
drain is, what canal it goes into, and what body of water it empties out. I'm going to look for that and I'll share it with you. But there are tons of great resources out there. That one particular is from the Water Management District, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you. They are one of our partners. So if we can, we'll get some of those links dropped in the chat if we
Yeah,
have a chance. Another question was about the Water Champions program. And
yeah.
I just want to add that I do know what those little toys are, and they are pretty fun. I personally have built my own stormwater system, and I learned so much about it. And I think I want to encourage as many people to join that program as possible. Can you share a little bit more? I've dropped the link on the
Sure.
initiative, but share a little bit more about that program and
Yeah, sure.
who we
No
can expect to
problem.
talk
Yeah,
to.
our St. Lucie Water Champions program is an adult education program that is free to county residents. We actually have an in-person session that's happening this Saturday. We're going to meet up at Jetty Park in Fort Pierce, and we've got a great speaker. His name is Kirk Fusco. He's from the Department of Environmental Protection, and he's going to be talking about where the lagoon meets the sea. So all of our education programs are all about water, and water connects us all. So it can tend to be a little broad too. So we're not just going to be talking about water, water, water. Everything is really involved in this program. So we meet in person once every other month, typically, I think the second Saturday of the month. And the topics are going to vary throughout the year. This is an ongoing program. It's totally free to sign up. Just go to oxboeco.com and you can click on St. Lucie Water Champions. We also just started our own newsletter. It's called the Watershed Connection. So, in between those months that we are not meeting in person, we have a digital resources that we'll be sending out to those who are interested in that newsletter. So, things like citizen science opportunities that you can be a part of, or community service areas that you can join in, or even just news and resources about water. Like I'm gonna definitely put that website that I was talking about, where your water flows, in there as soon as I can find it. I'll put that in there too. But it's free. You can sign up and join as many or as little as you like.
Thanks. I'll definitely be there on Saturday
Awesome.
hanging out with Kirk. I have a question about the residents and neighbors um, to the Sheridan Plaza Scrub Tree Preserve. So that's
Yeah.
the people who live in Sheridan Plaza. There's a little neighborhood, Citrus Heights. Even more so, there's Harmony Night Heights and Paradise Park, and other neighborhoods that have similar problems. And this project is probably going to help them all. How does that, what do they need to know about how this can impact their property values?
Yeah, definitely. So, the main goal about putting in this infrastructure for stormwater management is to better the community. So, like I mentioned before, some of these older developments didn't really have stormwater management as a rule or regulation when building. So, that means that some of the houses are a little bit lower than they should be in elevation. There's not as much fill, there's not as much canal space or for that water to go away from your house or your streets. So a lot of those older developments have a lot of flooding issues. So this project specifically is going to manage that. It's going to take that water, bring it away from people's houses. It's going to give it a place for the water to go. Because elevation, that's all that water knows is go to the lowest point. So they're going to give it a place for it to go. So hopefully it should manage that. And then, of course, less flooding is going to increase property values for sure in that environment, in that neighborhood. Definitely. And that's not the only project that's going on in that area. If you sign up for our St. Lucie water quality newsletter, the Watershed Connection, if you join in the Department of Public Works newsletter, they often share all kinds of different projects that are going on in St. Lucie County. Um, I know that they're working on in Melville Road, which is kind of by White City. They're doing another project over there. Sunland Gardens,
Yes.
Ancient Oaks, Harmony Heights. There's actually another project going on in there. It's
Mhm.
the phase 3 of a 3 phase project that they're doing. So there's lots of stuff that's going on in the community, and they are always looking for areas that maybe need help that they don't know so far. I mean, they're pretty good about scouting the area, but if you live in an area that does have consistent flooding that needs to be addressed, they are looking for that information where you live and what the problems are. So if you go to St. Lucie County's website, stlucieco.gov, and click on Water Quality Division, you can email. It actually has Jim Lappert's email right on the top right to email Jim and let him know it's flooding in my neighborhood, and they'll send someone out to scout it and they'll add it to their list. It's not like they can fix it right away, but they want to know all the stuff that's going on that needs to be addressed.
I think it's great that Jim's email is right there to
I
be the
know.
one collecting. So kudos to Jim.
Yeah.
Looking forward to learning more. Can you tell me a little bit about the stormwater management plan? Because you touched on the plans and how historically some of these neighborhoods were left out, but I know specifically Paradise Park has had a lot of work over the years with changing some of that infrastructure. Is there a place where people can go? It's probably on that site, but can you tell us about the stormwater management plan?
Yeah, because I'm not a part of the water quality division, I don't have super intense knowledge about the plan itself, just kind of basics. I know that there is a stormwater master plan for the county. I know that it was last updated in the 90s. So they are working to really look and understand the overall infrastructure and getting a better understanding of how the county drains historically and presently. So um, I know they're working on it now. I don't really know the details about when and how, but that's a great question for the water quality site on our website.
Well, thank you, Lauren. I think all these things really connect. And most importantly, there's a lot of information on the stluciecounty.gov website
Yes.
that with links. And I think it's important for us to learn who we can ask those questions to. So on top of Jim, there are elected officials that you can voice your concerns to. But what I do know is that St. Lucie County is on top of updating this stormwater management plan
Yeah.
by reaching
Mhm.
out to all of these communities. So I just wanted to make sure I spoke to that. And then we've got the question about the link to the stormwater tours, which is in there in the chat. So are there any other questions from any of our participants while we've got Lauren here?
I'll do my best.
All right. So, sometimes it's just short and sweet.
Yeah, that's okay.
And I think we can all do better about learning about stormwater, how it impacts our property values and what we can do about it. But especially a special thanks to St. Lucie County for doing all that hard work and Lauren Jenkins for joining us today on What's Up in the Watershed.
Thanks. Yeah, and join those newsletters because those are the best place to get the most up-to-date information with that Public Works newsletter, our St. Lucie Water Champions newsletter. We share each other's information back and forth too. So at least if you join one, you'll be getting some good information. But that's the most up-to-date way you're going to get stuff, including the website. But you have to search for that on your own. At least the newsletter letter comes to you.
All right, once before we go, I think I've got that email address, which is just waterquality at stlucieco.gov. So I'm going to drop that in the chat. And if there's no more questions, I think we're good to go. Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Lauren.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a good day, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you next month on our installment of What's Up in the Watershed.